Hey, it's Coach Carol, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how to restore your marriage, how to, a quick shift that you can make that will help to turn things around. So, are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling like, he's in his man cave all the time, that he's just pulling away more and more, and that you're really worried about whether your marriage is going to survive or not? Perhaps you're like one of my clients who every night would just go to bed thinking that, do I need to file for divorce? How long can I take this? He treats me so awfully. Like I just feel so put down and disrespected all the time. My client struggled so much with just feeling less than, and like her ideas were stupid. And even though she was a professional woman, that around her man, she just really felt criticized most of the time and was always on the defensive. When she hired me for coaching, what happened was that as we worked through some of the challenges and as she shared very vulnerably with me, I was so happy the day that she had this huge aha moment where she realized that he wasn't criticizing her and he wasn't saying that he didn't love her, but that there were things that she was doing that he didn't necessarily like. It was the behavior. It was the thing that she was doing that actually he felt disrespected by. And so he would make a comment or throw something back verbally, and then she would take it as a jab and that he didn't love her. And because she felt like he didn't love her, she just kept spiraling away and pulling away more and more, very much in a victim role, very, very hurt by what was happening, the interactions. She wasn't feeling that warm, fuzzy, cozy, loving feeling that we all want to have with our spouse. And so with that aha moment, everything shifted for her, that suddenly she realized this man does love me. And she started looking for proof of how much he loved her. And as she did that, everything just turned around in their marriage. And by the time we were done our coaching sessions, she was just head over heels with her husband. He was doing so many things for her, and he was just, everything was showing up differently. In fact, they were at their mother-in-law's house, and normally that was a place where there was always conflict because again, she felt very put down by the mother-in-law, and there was a whole family dynamic going on where she always felt put off and less than. And this particular time, when the mother-in-law threw out a jab, and she was respectful and did not comment back to the mother-in-law. And later that night, he said to her privately that his mother was wrong, and he stood up for her. And it was a beautiful thing. And he just wrapped his arms around her, and she felt like, oh my gosh, everything I had been doing for years was just pushing my husband further and further away. And then in fact, she realized that she had the power to transform her marriage, and our coaching brought that about. So I was so happy. I love success stories like that. And so today, I really want to help empower you to have that same kind of pivot, that same kind of perspective that can really change things up for you. So here's one of the things, right, is that remember when you were in school, when you were young, and you had your desk, that you were sitting at your desk and that you were doing your work. And that if you looked over at the student next to you's desk, you weren't on your paper anymore, right? You were on their paper. So the challenge that I would love to give to you is to discipline your mind and your thinking to focus on your own paper. Like, what is it that you have control over that is on your paper? We begin to realize as we start thinking about this, how often we're not on our own paper and we're actually on our husband's paper. When we think that we have the answers for whatever might come up, right? That, for instance, does your husband often say to you, gosh, you always have to be right. It's your way or the highway. Or do you find yourself maybe rolling your eyes at him sometimes, thinking, I can't believe what he's doing, or that you feel like you're smarter than he is, or that you feel like you have the answers all the time? I did too. And when I would do that, what I've learned now is that I'm not the expert in his life. I'm the expert in mine, but not his or anybody else's. That's all on his paper. And by learning the differences and being able to distinguish the two, right, and know when to pull myself back, um, everything just lightens up, because I'm no longer thinking that I know how to tell him to run his business. I've got great ideas, but when I go over there and start telling it to him, often he feels criticized and he does not feel respected. And so he, pulls back. And I don't want that, because I want to draw my husband in. I want us to have a close, intimate relationship. Whenever I go on his paper and he feels criticized, I'm controlling and I'm pushing my husband away. Completely subconscious. I had no idea that I was ever doing that. I had no idea that I used to roll my eyes. I probably still do sometimes, but it's why do women do that? I don't know. It's like this automatic thing that happens. My kids see it, when I am disapproving of something that they're doing. But I don't want to be that woman. When I think of 3 words, right? 3 words that I want, how I want to show up. I want to be kind, loving, and faithful. I ask you, what 3 words do you want to describe you? And that when you are interacting with your spouse or your kids or other people, right? How do you show up? Do you show up in that perspective versus on their paper, controlling, critical, knowing best, having all the answers, telling them what to do? Whenever there's telling, gosh, you should go do, or you need to. Control, control, control. It's all critical and it pushes them away. And so if what your heart's desire is to have kind, loving, close relationships, how would it be for you to stay on your paper? To remind yourself, is this on my paper or not? And if it's not, for me, that's a red flag that I need to go do more self-care, that I need to go and do what makes me happy. Because when I'm making myself happy, I'm totally on my paper. And the whole world just gets, brighter and better. And I don't feel like I have to go fix him, everything gets better. And so I hope that this helps you, empowers you to start becoming aware of what is within your realm on your paper and what's not. And to take those bold steps, potentially, that when you're recognizing it, because recognizing it is the beginning of change, and then to pivot to your paper and go make yourself happy. Go do some self-care and relinquish control of whatever it is that you might be wanting to go over there and control. Okay? So I would love for you to subscribe to this channel, and of course, to leave a comment, because your comments make a huge difference for me and for the algorithms and all this. So leave a comment below on how is it that you will relinquish control and get on your paper today. All right? Or whatever takeaway. I'd love to hear it. All right? So have a great day. And